Hi, this is Riddick Big Daddy Bo, two-time former world heavyweight champion, and you're watching Cool True Sports.
True School Sports.
True School Sports.
There you go, champ. Thank you.
My flow, my show brought me to go. That brought me all my fancy things. My crib, my cars, my clothes, my jewels. Look, homie, I done came up and I ain't changing. You should love it way more than you hate it. Oh, you mad? I thought that you'd be happy I made it.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, hope you guys have a great day out there today. Always good to talk boxing in front of this camera. But I wanted to come here and kind of just give you guys my take and my thoughts and my review on a fight that took place this past weekend. It really flew under my radar because I saw no videos about this from any YouTube channels. I heard nothing about it really. Because had I heard something about this fight at all, I would have definitely marked this one down. Because Ilangu, Makabu and Kudryashov, they took each other on in a cruiserweight, fight this weekend, and it flew under the radar. And the only reason I even heard about it was because I was live with my dad on YouTube at like 5 in the morning the other day, and my main man LR Chiga and Hawker Mustang. I think those were the two, Hawker Mustang and LR Chiga. I don't know if it was those two, but if it was, whoever it was, shout out to you for letting me know about this fight, because otherwise I probably would have never made any videos about it. But let's get into it, man. Ilangu Makabu versus Kudryashov. It was a good fight, and you knew going into it that it was going to be an entertaining one, because if you know anything about these two fighters, you know that both these fighters have a reputation for being in knockout, drag out affairs. Exciting fights. Makabu had that amazing fight a couple years ago with Tony Bellew at Goodison Park. Big shout out to Everton Football Club, the great Everton Football Club, the Mighty Blues. He had that fight with Tony Bellew a couple years ago at Goodison Park for the WBC World Title, and it was vacant at the time. And Makabu stopped or knocked Bellew down with a straight left hand in the first round of that fight. Bellew comes up off the canvas, stops him in the third round. So it was a really exciting fight, very, very exciting fight. Kudryashov, coming into this fight, had 25 professional fights, 23 wins, all 23 come by knockout. His only 2 losses came by stoppage, most notably. He got stopped in the, I think it was the quarterfinals of last year's World Boxing Super Series against Uniel Dorticos, and we saw what Dorticos can do to opponents this past weekend when he flattened Angel Tabiti. So these are two guys that stylistically you knew were going to mesh well if you knew anything about them. And it was a really good fight. So just to give you guys my take on the fight, the first round was a good tone setter for Makabu. Makabu being the shorter fighter, but also the more well-schooled fighter, the more skillful fighter. He coming out in the southpaw stance, picking his shots, coming upstairs, coming downstairs, stepping over, shooting to the body. He didn't allow Kudryashov to settle into any sort of rhythm. And to be fair, Kudryashov doesn't really have much boxing skills. So we know that Kudryashov, he's always looking to load up and hurt you. He's looking for that one shot. From the word go, he's looking for that one shot. And Makabu just did a good job of boxing him, keeping his range, touching him with some hard shots. He did throw a couple straight left hands down the pipe. He did jab him down to the stomach quite a lot in that round. And it was an easy round to score. I gave Makabu that round. The second round is where things really picked up. Second round is where things really began to pick up. Second round, Kudryashov caught Makabu with a left hook, and he kind of got Makabu to go on his back foot, right? And as he got Makabu to go back on his back foot, Makabu was fighting backwards. He was moving backwards, and Kudryashov, he's coming forward, looking for that one big shot. So then, I remember Kudryashov he kind of had cut the ring off of Makabu, and Makabu was landing punches here and there, and then Kudryashov kind of lunged in a bit, and Makabu was on the ropes, and Makabu threw this really short, precise, crisp left hand off the ropes, and he caught Kudryashov flush on the chin. Bang! Goes on the canvas. So he's on the canvas. Makabu scored the first knockdown of the fight, and he's already up 3 points going into the third round, right? So credit to Kudryashov. He continued to really do his best to fight Makabu. The thing with Kudryashov is he's someone who likes to load up on punches, and through the third and fourth rounds he continued fighting. There were a couple times where I would see him land shots, and they weren't even hard shots, they were grazing shots on Makabu, and he was able to get his attention and make him continue boxing, because if he didn't, Makabu was going to be in some big trouble. So Makabu, the challenge for him in this fight was to maintain his composure. He maintained his composure, and in the third and fourth rounds. In the fifth round, he started to pepper and just hit Kudryashov with a barrage of just punches. Bah, bang, 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 step over, bang, 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 roll, bang, bang. It was just amazing stuff from Makabu, and just probably I would say the best from the fights I've seen of his, the best performance of his career. You know, being in there with a dangerous puncher, being in there with somebody who has a reputation for being a puncher, and being able to hold your composure, being able to show that you're on a different level than him, and showing your own way that you're maybe punch, maybe you're not as hard a puncher as he is, but you're still dangerous enough of a puncher to get his attention. See, and he folded Kudryashov up and got him out of there in the 5th round. So just a great performance from Ilangu Makabu. This fight was for the WBC silver cruiserweight title, which you know leads Makabu now to potentially being in line for a title shot for that vacant WBC title, which he failed in capturing a couple years ago when he fought Tony Bellew at Goodison Park. So now he might have a title shot right around the corner. And I'll be honest with you, man. I've always liked Makabu. I thought Makabu was a good fighter. Like, if you look at his resume, the biggest, most notable name on his resume is Glenn Johnson. You know, the Road Warrior Glenn Johnson, who's fought a whole host of fighters. He fought Glenn Johnson when Glenn Johnson moved up and made his cruiserweight debut. And Glenn has fought in so many good fighters, so many quality fighters in his career. I mean, the list goes on. Carl Froch, George Groves, Roy Jones Jr., Bernard Hopkins, just a lot of good fighters, man. He sparred with Sergey Kovalev. He has a lot of quality in-ring experience, Glenn Johnson. And, you know, he's been in there with some big punches. I mean, I just named a couple of them for you. You know, Hopkins, Jones, Froch, you know, a lot of fighters. I know he fought Avni Yildirim, and I'm missing a lot of other names, I'm sure, but he's fought a whole host of big name punchers, and the only person to ever stop Glenn Johnson in his like 70 or 60 or however many fights he's had in his career, the only guy to ever stop him was Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins was the first guy to stop him. He stopped him in the 90s, and when Glenn Johnson was young, and it's the only other man not named Bernard Hopkins to stop Glenn Johnson is this man right here, Ilangu Makabu, when he stopped Glenn Johnson in Glenn Johnson's cruiserweight debut. So he can punch. When you can stop the Glenn Johnsons of the world, you're definitely a puncher. This is also a man who he knocked down Tony Bellew in their fight in the very first round, a well executed counter punch. He beat the very skilled and the very game. I won't say very skilled, but the very game and skilled fighter Tambasio Mchunu, who many of us may know, another African fighter. He fought Alexander Usyk, and that was a fight where Usyk, I think, stopped him in like the 9th or 10th round, and Usyk had to really show the extra bit of quality to get Mchunu out of there. You know, he wasn't an easy guy to stop. He was a solid fighter. So, you know, he stopped Glenn Johnson, he stopped Mchunu, he knocked down Bellew in a knockdown drag out affair a couple years ago at Goodison Park, and now he's beating Kudryashov. So this is a good fighter. This is a capable fighter. And, you know, I would love to see Makabu fight the winner of potentially the World Boxing Super Series. So maybe he could fight Dorticos or Breedis. You know, I don't know if that will happen, because whoever wins that fight will be a unified champion. So, you know, I don't know. I would like to see Makabu against whoever wins the World Boxing Super Series, or any one of the top cruiserweights out there, because I think he's an underrated fighter, and he's been an underrated fighter for quite some time now. Anybody who does not know who this guy is, if you like skillful southpaws who can punch and can counter and can roll shots, you know, you'll like Makabu. You know, Makabu's a good fighter. He's from the Congo, African fighter, African brother. So, you know, big shouts out to him on stopping a very good puncher in Kudryashov. As for Kudryashov, man, like, I don't know. He needs to refine his boxing skills. You know, during this fight, Sergey Kovalev was in the crowd watching, because it was in Russia. Kovalev should really teach him how to box, like, straight up. Kovalev needs to teach Kudryashov how to box, like how to jab, how to set up punches, because when you watch Kudryashov's fights, yeah, he can punch, but, you know, there's no nuanced skills of boxing. That's why he can go punch with a guy like Dorticos, but he don't got the boxing skills of Dorticos. So Dorticos will set up that one big punch, bang, with the boxing skills. But you can see Kudryashov loading up. So unless he catches you with a flush punch and you stand there and trade with him, you know, you're gonna beat him. And that's what it is. He hasn't been able to really win any of his big step up fights. You know, against Makabu, against Dorticos. So it's back to the drawing board for him. And he better refine his style real quickly, because if he keeps taking punishment like this, he's going to have a very, very short boxing career. So that's my take on the fight. Looking forward to seeing what happens with Makabu in the cruiserweight division as he continues to move and progress with his career. Very skillful fighter, and I'm looking forward to him, hopefully, now that he won the WBC silver title, he can go get that title shot for the WBC world title and best of luck to him. I think he's got a good chance against any of the cruiserweights right now. I think he's got a good chance at having a good fight against him. I think he matches up well with Breedis. I think he matches up well with even a guy like Dorticos. Just as long as he can avoid the right hand, he'll be able to have success with him. And honestly, that's the thing too. That's what will make that fight so exciting if it did happen. Is sometimes the biggest kryptonite for a southpaw, and I'm speaking as a southpaw myself. Sometimes the biggest kryptonite for a southpaw is a good right hand. So Dorticos versus Makabu will be interesting if Dorticos is able to come out the World Boxing Super Series. But whoever he fights for the world title, I'll definitely be tuned into it because he's a solid fighter, underrated fighter, and a fighter I enjoy watching. So yeah, go check it out if you haven't already. You can probably find it on YouTube. Makabu versus Kudryashov. It was an absolutely amazing fight. There was 2 knockdowns from Makabu on Kudryashov. Kudryashov also hurt and staggered Makabu. It was if you like back and forth, knocked out, drag out affairs, it was a good cruiserweight fight to watch. So you guys can go watch it. Leave your comments down below. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, because we're on the road to 20,000 subscribers here on True School Sports, and we should be getting there any day now. And I'm looking forward to seeing that. Maybe by the time this comes out, we're already at 20,000. So if we are at 20,000, thank you guys for all the love and support. Continue to support. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. All right, Logan, you're one of boxing best prospects. Good performance.
Hey, peace out, True School Sports.
Travis Gotti here with True School Sports. And yeah, we up in this motherfucker, Los Angeles, the forum.